Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is a fall and winter inspired makeup tutorial, of course. It is my favorite season of fall. I love that the temperatures become a little bit more crisp, the smells start to warm up, the leaves start to change into these beautiful red and yellow and orange colors. Overall is one of the most delicious seasons of all. I was actually inspired by a photo that I saw on Instagram of Gigi and Bella Hadid. This is one of their many fashion week makeup looks that they had. Very editorial, very runway type makeup, and I was super inspired by that. I loved how the pinkish burgundy eyeshadow really made their eyes pop. I mean, that shadow complements their eyes perfectly. So then I looked into what colors make brown eyes pop. Like, I had a slight idea of, you know, the purples and the blues. They really help pop those brown eyeballs. They make them stand out, they make them lighter. I knew that, but I wanted to do a little bit more digging, and I thought I want to incorporate the same kind of burgundy-esque shadow look into my makeup tutorial, but I want to make the eyes a little bit more deeper to complement the changing seasons. As you saw in the inspiration photo, their lips were actually just a simple pinky nude, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna bring it up a notch. I can start whipping out some of my darker lip shades. I know it's probably a little outside of most people's comfort zone, but I wanted to inspire you guys to get motivated for the seasons, to try out new shades, try out new makeup looks, play around with makeup, be creative, and find what's perfect for you. But yeah, I hope that you guys are inspired by this look. I hope you enjoy this makeup tutorial. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I make videos every week, and if you enjoy this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or you want to chat with me down in the comment section, feel free to. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's get started on this makeup tutorial. So I wanted to show you guys this shirt. True to its name, it's very comfortable. It's like almost like a cashmere kind of sweater. I actually don't have the mic that I usually use on. I'm not even filming with the same camera or the mic, so it's a different camera. It's more like a vlogging style camera, so please bear with me as the sound probably sounds a little different. Yeah, we're just gonna go with it. The first thing that I'm gonna do is put on some foundation. Lately, I've been kind of re-falling in love with the Makeup Forever HD foundation. It's definitely in my top 3 favorite foundations of all time. I might even say it's my #1. It's just such a solid foundation. I find myself continuously going back to it. It's the foundation that I wore on my wedding day. It's long lasting, it's mattifying, it photographs like a dream. So I think that's what I'm gonna work with today. I'm on my fingers, clean fingers of course. Foundation Kabuki brushes from Sigma. Spray a little bit of Fix Plus on it. And the reason that I've been applying the Fix Plus to the foundation is that it kind of thins it out a little bit, which makes it a little easier to spread and buff into the skin. And the Fix Plus also adds a little bit of moisture so that it's not so super matte. That's a great trick if you want to make the foundation that you have a little bit more glowy and a little bit more luminous. Try adding a little bit of Fix Plus to your brush while you're buffing it in. What I'm going to apply is this Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse Foundation. If you've been around on my channel, you know that I've used this for years, and I actually don't even use it as a foundation, more concealer base product. Put it under my eyes to not only conceal but to also brighten up. I do have some hollowness underneath my eyes, so I typically like to use this because of the consistency. It's more of like a moussey kind of consistency, if you can tell, and it fills in those hollowed areas really well. Kind of sets a nice base for my brightening concealer that I put on afterwards. I'm gonna go ahead and start on my eyes, and the first thing that I want to do is prime my eyes with Painterly, and I'm just gonna apply it with my finger right to the eye. I want to make sure I cover everything so that we have a nice foundation for the shadow. Okay, so the first shadow that I'm going to put on is just a blending shadow, and I'm going to actually use Makeup Geek's Peach Smoothie right there. Just chilling in that crease area. so that I can easily blend some of the darker colors that I'm going to be applying on top of this. This look was actually inspired by a photo that I saw of Gigi Hadid and her sister Bella. Let me show you guys. Look at how stunning that eye makeup is. And you can see they have like super blue piercing eyes, so that color, so that shadow color looks amazing with their eye color. It really makes those eyes pop. I'm gonna focus on like red browns for this look. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this shadow right here. It's like a warm orangey brown shade, and I'm just gonna go ahead and add that on top of the transition shade that we applied earlier, right in the crease. I'm gonna buff that out. And this shadow is gonna make it easy to blend some of the darker shadows, as I mentioned before, some of the deeper reds, and it's also gonna be a nice kind of foundation for those reds, so that you're not just getting this super intense red shadow on your eyes. You're kind of seeing it diffuse into a reddish brown shade as it goes up towards the eyebrow. How beautiful is that shadow? It's so pretty. So I'm gonna just bring it right slightly above my crease. I'm not gonna bring it all the way to the brow bone. We're gonna use a different color shadow to set in that area. And when applying shadow and blending shadows out, start with a small amount. See how you like it. See how you like the pigmentation. See how you like the blendability of it. And then kind of take your time to build on it. Because if you add too much too quickly, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to blend it out or buff it out to get it to the consistency that you want it. But if you do find yourself adding a little too much shadow and you're like, what am I going to do with this? It's not blending out. Just grab yourself a lighter shadow, something similar to, you know, the peach smoothie, or something even as light as this color, maybe just a little bit lighter of a shadow. Apply just a little bit on the tip of your blush and then, or your brush, and go over the shadow that you applied too much of. Try to blend it out that way. And that typically works out really well because you have a lighter shadow to kind of break apart some of that super pigmented shadow that you applied too much of. And then another trick also is to try to use some foundation powder. Like if you have a compact with some pressed powder that's similar to your foundation color, dip a little bit of your brush in that and then try to blend out that harsh color with some of the foundation powder. That should work as well. And if that fails, then you could always just wash it off and restart. And I'm actually gonna bring the shadow closer to the inner eye. So I'm just gonna bring that over, as I was saying, towards the inner eye. Make sure to buff it out. Now the thing about bringing shadows, especially dark shadows like this, is that it creates a shadow, so you're gonna get an effect of a more hollowed eye. See, as you can tell, this looks a little bit more hollow because I brought that shadow towards the inner eye and I created a shadow, so it looks like my eyes are deeper set. I'm gonna blend it out, and we're just gonna build on some of the more intense color as we go. Alright, so now that that is laid down, I'm going to go ahead and add, this is Max, what shade is this? I forget what shade it's called. I'll list it down in the information box below, all of the shades that I'm using. So I'm going to go ahead and start building this onto the eye. And actually, I'm going to bring this a little lower than I did the other two shades. So I'm going to really start smoking out the eyelid entirely. So back and forth motions, blending it out, making sure that there aren't any, you know, solid harsh lines to where the shadow begins and ends. I want to make it diffused and kind of blown out. Again, I'm bringing it all the way towards the inner corner, just like so. And we're actually going to do the same thing to the lower lash line, but I want to make sure that I put my concealer on and everything, and that's ready to go before I add any kind of pigment or any shadow to that lower lash line. And the key is just to take your time and make sure to blend everything out so that it all looks like it's just kind of coming out from one another, if that makes sense. You want to see just this beautiful diffusion of color. So the next shadow that we're gonna work with is this shadow right down here. It's this beautiful deep burgundy color, kind of like the color of wine it reminds me of. It's gonna go really well with this look. It's perfect for fall, and it's going to make the eyes really pop. Okay, so I'm gonna use more of a packing style brush to really get the pigment, or the shadow rather, onto the entire lid. And then I'm gonna go back with that blending brush and blend everything out. So now I'm gonna go back in with my blending brush, and we're going to blend that out so that you aren't able to see where this burgundy wine color begins and everything else ends. Okay, now that the shadow is on, I'm gonna go ahead and feel like I'm like struggling with the words here. I'm gonna add a little bit more shadow to the brow bone. It's gonna be a little lighter. I'm gonna go ahead and use this dark shade from the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette. I know I'm so late to the game with this one. I've definitely been sleeping on this palette. It's an excellent palette. It's just got like the most basic, beautiful matte shadows. Great palette to take with you if you're traveling. I mean, it's got such a great range of basic sort of shadows that pair with everything, every look, every outfit. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and apply that to the brow bone. I'm gonna bring it in towards the inner brow as well. And as you can see, it's not too bright or too, you know, metallic where it just kind of takes away from the rest of the shadow. I just feel like it's a really great shadow to add to the top. It's very similar to my skin color. So, okay, now that I have my brows on and my shadow on, I'm gonna go ahead and add some concealer. And I'm just gonna apply it with my clean finger here. To add a little bit of a brightening effect, I'm gonna go ahead and add this banana shade. Just gonna tap it right in the center there. I need to dampen my beauty blender, so I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm gonna blend everything in with my damp beauty blender. I really like this concealer. Not only is it super full coverage, but it's long lasting and it blends really nicely. You'll definitely want to make sure that you have some sort of powder to set your under eye concealer with for this look, because we're going to be bringing some of that shadow down to the lower lash line. We want to make sure that it's super easy to blend out. Adding translucent powder, any kind of setting powder, will help any shadow blend out easily. I'm going to go ahead and warm up the face a little bit with some bronzer. Bronze Goddess by Estee Lauder. It's a beautiful kind of terracotta warm brown shade, which is going to pair really well with all the warm browns and reds that we have going on. Super inexpensive e.l.f. brush that I picked up at Target a couple of years ago. It's seriously one of my favorite blush brushes and bronzer brushes. I feel like it's the perfect size to go under the cheekbone area where you can carve out your cheekbones and do a lot of the contouring with. And this is seriously less than $3. So now I'm gonna go ahead and warm up the cheekbones. Just kind of placing some of that product right underneath the cheekbones to contour the face a little bit, add a little bit of dimension back to the face, as well as warm it up. I'm also going to bring a little bit of the shadow right towards the temples, right below the hairline, to warm up the temples and the forehead, and then a little underneath the jawbone to contour it a little bit. I'm actually going to add a little bit of this Chanel bronzer. It's one of my absolute favorite bronzers. I'm going to bring this a little further in than I did with the Estee Lauder bronzer. We're going to go ahead and focus back onto the eyes. So in the photo, they have the shadow come down to the lower lash line and it connects with the entire eye. So it looks like the shadow is just completely around the entire eyeball, which I think really makes the eye color pop. That's what I'm going to do too. I'm going to bring the shadow down to the lower lash line and connect it with the inner corner and then the outer corner too. So we have just super beautiful blown out smoky bright eye look. So I'm going to go ahead and just skip out on that peach smoothie shade and start with this orangey brown shade that I applied to the eyelid. So I'm gonna go ahead and build this onto the lower lash line. This again will help some of the darker shadow diffuse easier. It'll give kind of a nice blending base to some of the darker shadows that we're gonna apply. So I'm gonna bring this right along the lash line like so. Just make sure to blend it out and bring it all the way towards the inner corner, just like so. And you can see I brought it all the way down and towards the inner corner, so it almost looks like it's all connected. And typically I would use something like a pencil brush. It's a lot more thin and has a more of a precise tip. Because I'm going off of this editorial inspired makeup look, I'm gonna go ahead and use the fluffy brush. I want the shadow on the lower lash line to really stand out. You can see that putting a little bit of shadow on the lower lash line really makes your eyeballs pop. Go back in with more of a pencil style brush because I really want to focus the deeper, darker shadows closer to the lash line, because I don't want it to cover up some of this lighter shadow that we have. I want it to just blend really beautifully and peek out above the lighter orangey brown shadow that I applied first. And pick up this brick shade from MAC that I applied up on the top lid, and I'm just gonna focus it right close to the lower lash line. So we're gonna bring it up a little bit, focus it right in there. Wine Burgundy shade. And I'm gonna make sure to bring this shadow especially towards the inner and outer corner of the eyes. Now I'm going to put some lashes on with this look because I think it'll just make the entire look pop, and I want to play around with some lashes. So I'm going to go ahead and add a quick coat of mascara, and then I'm going to apply my lashes. My coat of mascara is on, and I'm actually going to use these MAC 35 lashes. They're not too dramatic, which I like for this look, but they are also going to add some volume and length to my eyelashes at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and apply these. I don't know if I've told you guys about this, but this is my favorite lash glue. It's made by House of Lashes. You don't have to wait very long for this to become tacky. You apply it, wait like 2 seconds, and then apply it to the lash line. It's amazing. Okay, now that my lashes are on, I'm gonna work on the lips. Now in the photo, they both have a super natural looking lip, but I'm actually gonna bring it up a notch and add a super bold burgundy lip. So I was thinking about doing a super bold berry lip. I think I'm gonna go with this MAC lipstick in Rebel. And I don't have a matte lipstick in that dark of a shade, but I'm actually going to turn it into a matte looking lip by using translucent powder. So stick around so I can show you that trick. I'm actually going to apply this magenta lip liner by MAC. Just going to line the lips with it, and then I'm going to apply the lipstick. So I was actually inspired to do this deep lip color when I saw a snap of Kylie's. She was giving us like a sneak peek of her next shade, and it was this beautiful berry liquid lip shade, and I was like, you know what, I love that. I'm gonna try to incorporate that into a makeup look. This definitely has a little bit more of a sheen that I would like, but I think I'm gonna skip out on this. It's not really applying the way I want it. Let's see, what else do I have back here? Let me try applying Heroin. Okay, now that I've applied it and added a little bit of translucent powder, I'm starting to warm up to it a little bit. Initially, I was like, I don't know if this is quite the look I'm going for, but okay, so the way to mattify any of your lipstick is to apply a little bit of translucent powder onto your lipstick after you've applied it. I just like to pick some up on my clean finger and then dab. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and apply MAC's Mocha to the apples of my cheeks just to bring a little bit more color to the face. This blush pairs really well with all of the beautiful deep burgundy and maroons that we have going on up on the eye. So this is the final look, fall inspired deep eye and lip makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This look I hope inspired you to step out of your comfort zone, to incorporate some bolder shadows and shades into your makeup as the seasons are changing and the cold weather approaches. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.